Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at some new cards coming out. We have new mutant support. We actually have new Mako Tsunami support, so that's going to be pretty exciting. Guys, this is kind of one of those like anime fan favorites. And on top of that, there's a new Catnip card. There's like a bunch of those like random cards that are going to be coming out. But anyways, the Mako support though is not going to be in Battles of Chaos, which is something we've been getting a lot of cards for. This is actually going to be coming out in Duelists of the Abyss, and I believe this is the first few announcement of some cards coming out in here. Plus, there is what looks like to be Pot of Greed in this card, and Dokoichi, that's an old school card. Anyways, let's kick it off with the new mutant support. I remember these guys came out and everyone was playing them for like a week and then they just completely poofed. But anyways, mutant mutator over here, level 1 water psychic effect monster, 0 attack, 0 defense. Says you can only use first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn, and it's going to be a level 1 water psychic. And it says if you control a mutant card, you can spell summon this card from your hand. The second part is you can tribute this card, then banish one mutant card from your hand or deck to spell summon one monster from your hand or deck based on the banished card. And if you do, lose life points equal to that monster's original attack. It says monster, mutant beast, spell, mutant mist, trap, mutant arsenal. Okay, it's kind of interesting. That definitely is like a viable card. I mean, it's being able to special summon whatever you need from your deck is huge. I mean, yeah, it does dependent on whatever you are banishing, but you do also take some damage, which could actually be like a good thing depending on if you want to like do something weird with Megamorph or like any like other weird obscure card. But still, mutants are getting more support, which is kind of cool because I haven't seen this archetype see like any play in most recent times. Next up, these are just a bunch of cards. Now these are coming out of Battles of Chaos as well, but these are just kind of like spread out cards. I don't think it's part of like any archetype. But anyways, let's kick it off with the first card, which is the Mad Hacker. So level 2 Dark Cyberse effect monster, 1000 attack, 1600 defense points. It says you can only use this card's name first and second effects once per turn each. The first part of it is if a monster or monsters is special summoned to your opponent's field, you can special summon this card from your hand. Second part is during the end phase, you can banish this card from the field to take control of the monster your opponent controls with the lowest attack your choice if tied. While that monster is face up on your field, its effects cannot be activated. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra except for link monsters. Okay, so I guess you could just straight up just use that card instantly. I like how it has a really easy special summon requirement, and it's during the end phase, so that could be both, I believe, but you do have to banish this card, so unless you can just like link one instantly, it's still a pretty good effect because that forces your opponent, especially if they are playing a archetype that relies off of just making one boss monster, right? Then you could just get it for free. At the end of the day, I think it's an okay card. It just happens to also be a dark and a cyber, so it does have some synergy with what's currently in the game. I think this card's cool, for sure, but the thing is that you have to special summon it at the right time, because if you special summon it too early, your opponent's just gonna like make some trash card, or they're not gonna make their play. I like this card. I feel like it's definitely a new hand trap for sure. Against certain archetypes, they just straight up would lose to this card. But remember, it still has to activate the effect because it's a can effect of banishing it from the field. So that's going to be interesting. Anyways, next up we have Catnip Li Hua. Here is the artwork on this card. It's going to be level 2. Looks like it's a wind with 0 attack, 0 defense, and it's going to be a wind beast. And it says you can only use this card's name effect once per turn. The first part of the effect is you can tribute this card and target one level 2 monster in your graveyard except for Catnip Li Hua. Special summon it, and then you can special summon one level 2 monster with a different attribute than that monster from your hand. If it was from the deck, then it would be like really cool, but I don't know if that's going to be like viable enough because there's so many like just special summon cards in general. And on top of that, you have to tribute it. So I don't know. We'll see if that has any like synergy. I don't know like what exactly would make really great use of that off the top of my head, but if you do know, comment down below. Next up we have the Haken Ray Proscription. Here is the artwork on this card. It looks like it's a spell card. Is that what is that? Magical Merchant, I think is that the picture of that card in the background, or like Gokibo or something like that. It's some insect. Anyways, normal spell card. It says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. First part of it, to declare one card name. For the rest of the turn, your opponent can activate cards or effects with the same original card name as the declared card name. For the rest of the duel, you cannot activate cards or effects with the same original card name as the declared card name. So for the rest of the turn, your opponent can't activate it, but then on top of that, you can't activate it for the rest of the duel. Why wouldn't you just run like something like, what is it, like Prohibition, like, I don't get it. I know Prohibition is continuous, so it might be more susceptible to getting like wrecked by things, but very interesting card. I don't know what people would say. We're going something close to Prohibition. Yeah, I don't get it. But if this was a quick play, then I could see it being like, you know, a little bit better in some way. But nonetheless, whatever. Next up, though, we have Recklessness and Punishment. So this looks like it's a trap card. It's a normal trap card that says if your life points is lower than your opponent's, you get to activate one of these effects. Hey, this will work with the Dino Waifus. Anyways, destroy one monster your opponent controls with the attack equal to or lower than the life points difference, or special summon a monster from your graveyard with attack equal to or lower than the life points difference. I mean, at that point, like there's so many like a reborn variants of cards, like Back to the Frontline. There's like Call of the Hunt. Like, I don't think we really needed that. I like the ability of having two different effects, but I just think that the requirement, and on top of that, it has to be with attack equal to the difference. Like, I would rather just play other cards. I just don't see this card being very powerful at first glance, unless it's part of an archetype that makes it searchable. Next up, though, End of the Line. This is what I was really interested in, because anything with Pot of Greed and the artwork, people always get hyped up, like, what is this? All right. It says if your life points is less than 100. What? Less than 100? What? How do you even do this? So if your life points is less than 100, draw 2 cards. Then if your life points is lower than 10, draw 2 cards. We draw... What? So you get to get both of those effects, though, right? So, I mean, if you get to draw 4, if your life points is lower than 10, I mean, like, realistically, what's the condition to get them lower than 10, other than, like, some, like, obscure attack? Because even if you start halving from everything, like, that's, I mean, it does let you draw 4, though. That is pretty high, but at the cost of, how do you do that? Someone let me know. How do you, I know you can get your life points to, like, you can, like, pay until you have 100, but, like, to get it to 10 is just, like, that's ridiculous. I don't know, maybe someone will figure it out. There's probably going to be some really weird card that, like, very, very few people even know about to get your life points lower than 10. Yeah, that's really weird. I'm still trying to think of things, but that'll be definitely for the comment section. Anyways, new Mako Tsunami support. Let's go and check out this as well. Mega Fortress Well is the first card we're going to be taking a look at. So obviously, all these are going to be water support. So 2550 attack, 2350 defense, and it's going to be a water fish effect, level 7. It says you can only use the first, second, and third effects of this card's name, each once per turn. The first part of the effect is if Umi is face up on the field, you can activate this effect. Your water monster can attack directly this turn. The second part is during your opponent's battle phase. As a quick effect, you can target one face-up monster they control and destroy it during... It is a quick effect, though. The third part of it is if this card on the field is destroyed by battle per card effect, you can take one water warrior monster from your deck or graveyard and either add it to your hand or special summon it. I mean, like, Umi in 2021, maybe... I mean, it's... If you activate this effect, all of your water monsters, not like certain lower levels, so you can just like be like, okay, I'm attacking directly with everything, game, GG's, right? That could be pretty insane, but I think your opponent will just stop your monsters from coming out in the first place, right? Next up, though, we have Death Kraken or Doom Kraken. Here is the artwork on this card: 1400 attack, 1600 defense points, level 4, and this is going to be a water aqua. It says you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. The first part of it is if Umi is face up on the field as a quick effect, you can target one water monster you control except for Doom Kraken and one monster your opponent controls. Special summon this card from your hand. If you do, return the first target to the hand. If you do, destroy that second target. Okay. Bouncing it back could be kind of useful because like some of the effects, like when you summon it, I'm thinking like maybe on levels like Mermails if you can mix it in. Interesting. And then the second part is when opponent's monster declares an attack, you can return this card to the hand if you negate that attack. Very interesting effect. Considering, I mean, you do get to special summon the card, so it's all about bouncing and destroying. It's maybe viable. It is a quick effect, though. That's the important part, and that makes it like a lot more viable. Anyways, next up we have the Electric Jellyfish Physalia. Here is the artwork on it. It's going to be level 4 water, 1400 attack, 1700 defense points. It's also going to be a aqua monster. It says you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. The first part of it is you can send one Umi from your hand, deck, or face up on the field to the graveyard to special one water monster from your hand. Second part is when your opponent activates a spell card or effect or a monster effect and Umi is face up on the field as a quick effect, you get to negate that effect. Then this card gains 600 attack and defense, so it's like 2000. That's pretty decent. As long as Umi's on the field, I mean, that's a quick effect to negate it. I like that. Definitely a very viable card. And on top of that, you get a special on any water monster from your hand, but you do lose out on, well, it's from your deck, so you can dump it from the deck. So you can still technically have it up on the board. I mean, as long as you happen to have it, it's definitely going to be a card. We got to see what is the support to actually add Umi though, because other than I haven't checked up on that archetype in a long time. Anyways, Fish Sonar, which is a normal spell card that says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. First part of it is to add 1 level 7 or lower monster that is a water normal monster or specifically lists Umi in its text from your deck to your hand. Then if Umi is face up on the field, you special one a water normal monster from your deck. Next up, we have Sea Stealth 2, which is a continuous spell card that says you can only use the third effect of this card's name once per turn. The first part of it is this card's name becomes Umi while face up on the field or in the graveyard. The second part is your opponent cannot target water monsters you control with non-water monster effects. That's actually really decent. And then on the third part of it, because it is continuous, at the start of the battle phase, you can special summon one monster that specifically lists Umi in its text or one water normal monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position, but destroy it at the end of the battle phase. That's actually pretty good. Considering with the other cards, you can just like bounce the with the Doomcrack and just be able to bounce back the card, or is it? Yeah, with the yeah, as a quick effect too. So I think this is like actually looking pretty decent so far. Next up, we have Leviathan of the Reef, normal trap card that says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. The first part of it is send one face of Umi you control to the graveyard. You can have special summon monsters until the end of your next turn, except for water monsters. Also special summon up to 2 water normal monsters and or monsters that specifically list Umi in their text with different names from your hand or deck in defense position. Then, if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon any number level 6 or lower water normal monsters from your hand or deck. Wait, what? If they just control, okay, so you do lose on Umi. It's so weird, this effect that you can't special summon, and then you special summon 2 water normals, and then you can just special summon any number level 6 or lower. That's insane, and these ones don't get destroyed during the end phase. So like if you just spam the board with a bunch of monsters, I mean, yeah, it is a trap. You're gonna have to actually fill up the graveyard, so maybe like it's really not that big of a deal. But like any number level 6 or lower water normals, I mean, you'd have to play a lot of vanillas. I mean, like the potential of plays, if you just got 5 level 6s, I mean, I don't know what the targets are. If there's like a bunch of like tuners that are also this, you can go off with plays because well, it does say water monsters with the exception, so you wouldn't be able to make, I don't know, I'll have to check out like all the like water monsters, and we're already pretty long in this video. But anyways, let me know guys what you think of any of these new cards. Are mutants back? I'm actually kind of curious because again, I haven't seen anyone play. The water stuff is actually good, but some of like the other newer like dinosaur support, which we just dropped, like the new dinosaur support stuff, I was super underwhelmed by, but the water stuff, I'm actually pretty impressed by. But anyways, let me know your thoughts down below on any of the cards that we talked about. If this is your first time here and you want to be updated on new Yu-Gi-Oh cards as soon as they come out, make sure you guys subscribe with a bell notification on, and you'll definitely see more, as I'm sure we'll get more support for them in the future. And if you guys do want to send me in any replays, would love to see them, feel free to send in them over at asianizedreplays@gmail.com or via the Discord, because I'm curious to see if someone's going to be making some insane deck. I really want to know, how do we get the draw 4 card? That's really, it's like literally driving me crazy. How do we get the draw 4 card to actually work? But anyways, take care guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one, and I'm signing out. Peace.